So why India? So from a perspective after 2012, I said, okay, I'm seeing a lot of flow of Indian businesses coming into South Africa. Maybe I need to go out there and see if there's an opportunity for us to set up FNB business banking or commercial banking, as you call it, to India. And then we did a bit of a business case. We've seen there were legs. There was opportunity to grow this business. But why FNB in India? So the obvious question was, we're busy in Africa. Which other continent? We're not going to Americas. We decided we're not going to Americas. It's too far. It's not close to home. But why India? But because of the linkages I just told you earlier on about, and a rather large population of 1.2 billion people, was sufficient for us to understand that the entire population, so I would say 60 to 70% speak English. Okay? So I don't need a translator in every meeting I go into. So that would have already been a very big tick for me to say, doing business in India would be something that I would mutually benefit from by just being in the country. So obviously, one thing that we take for granted is regulations. As a banker, you need to understand the landscape of the country. How do they govern their banks there? How do they operate? And one had to go through this entire learning of understanding how the Reserve Bank of India operates. It is not as easy as you think it is. There are many regulations because of the size of the population and the protectionism of the individuals who bank their money in those banks. They had to be very, very sound in the way they wrote those rules. So as a banker in South Africa, you had to learn very fast. If it means you work fast, you needed to sleep very fast in India. Because at the end of the day, the next morning you needed to make sure you've gone through a lot of regulation and you understand that market very well. So it's something that we had to do. Obviously, we worked with a lot of partners in country. We didn't do this on our own. We made sure we used the best resources in the market to understand how to do it. We then applied for the business banking license. We were fortunate enough, as a bank, within 1 year we got our license. So it wasn't years that you hear that in the Indian market you can't get your license. There's always a way of getting things, is making sure that you do a proper documentation and you understand the regulations. So when you complete your applications, they go through a proper rigorous process. So even any one of you guys want to invest in the country, understand the space where you're going to go invest in, understand the regulation in that space. Very, very important. Very important is also understanding the culture in the market space. You know, you may be an Indian from South Africa going to India, but you're not an Indian. Okay, when you're there, this is very different. Okay, they do things differently. Their whole body language is different. You can't go there and be an arrogant South African thinking you're going to push the dial there and you're going to make things happen. It doesn't work like that. So I think one becomes very humble when you get there very quickly, because the level of expertise and the people and the knowledge you work with, it is phenomenal. My inquiry clerk person had 2 degrees. Okay, so the level of education you're looking at there, it is profound. So anybody you employ in your organization is well educated, well funded. So you're already starting off with a plus when you have a team and obviously we ran a team of about 50 to 60 people when I went there, right? Over time, we ramped it up. But it tells you the level of education. So if there's an organization coming from South Africa going into that market, it makes it very easy when you need the right resources. So that was a very good opportunity for us. So I think the other thing that astounded me is the level of and the number of banks in the country. You know, when one just looks at the media, you say, okay, there's 200 banks, it can't be so. The competition is the 254 banks. Okay? Your one bank in that country has 11,000 branches. We have 600 to 700 branches. We get excited. We're the biggest bank in South Africa. 11,000 branches. I don't know how they operate and how they look after all those 11,000 branches, but it is astonishing. 160,000 ATMs at any one given point. What 11,000 branches? That means wherever there's an ATM, there's a branch right next to it or not very far from it. Okay? South Africa, 25,000 ATMs. It just tells you the magnitude of people and the size of the country you're working with. The other most important thing for me, learning from the Indian market, is the different industries and the level of volume. So India is a very different country if you have to go and invest there. Here we work on high margins, okay? And whereas in India they work on low margins, high volume. It's a very different market. So when I seen some of those balance sheets, I said, well, the balance sheet looks good. I'm used to big revenue customers. And when you go there and you see the revenue earnings in single digits, it takes you a bit back to understand that market, that is how the market operates. It is very different to the way we operate here inside. We are very spoiled with the margins we make in the market space. The other thing is, how can we help you in India? I tried to put a cliche on, and I had to convert that into various languages. It was mine, because I couldn't use Hindi in every state, because every state is different. So you had to eventually, we use a simple, above the line, how can we help you? But we kept it very simple, and we kept it easy. The incentives, e-bucks, you guys get all e-bucks, and some of you guys go shopping with that thing quite often in South Africa. It's very hard to do e-bucks in India. The government only allows you to give 100 Rand rebate on anything per month, per customer. So you can't go there and dish out what you want to. So now you're already starting, now you want to become a different entity in the country, and you want to be different to all other banks in the country. You very quickly realize that there are regulations that prohibit you from doing what you think you can do back home. It's very different, okay? So you have to be very smart with technology. So you come from South Africa and you think you got the best technology. Yet you learn when you just entered it, they're already doing Twitter banking, Facebook banking. So the landscape is already ahead of you when you're entering the market. So these are things that I think we take a lot of things for granted as South Africans when we operate in our environment. We think we know it all, that we've done it, we tops at everything. But as you get out there, you realize that there are also lots of other countries that have the same edge as we have. Yeah, something good that we do, and I like what we do, is that we're fast to market, okay? And it's not as easy as you want it to happen in India, because it's mega corporations. The levels of getting things done and permission levels is not as quick as ours. So one of the advantages we had there, we had a very quick decision-making process. So if somebody came for a lending to us, it was like 4-man team or a 5-man team, and we made a decision. So that way, we picked up and we used that at our advantages. What I liked about the whole thing is that when I went there, the first thing I said, how am I going to build this business? Nobody knows us. Who's First Rand? What's this brand? There are mega brands in those countries. So you had to start small, you had to chip away, and the consulate of South Africa became your friend. The High Commission of South Africa became your friend. The first thing you did, you moved all their accounts away from other banks. They started banking with you. The second thing I went to SA Tourism. I started talking to Hanley. I said, listen, Hanley, we're an African bank. You should be banking with us. We moved their banking to us. So all of a sudden now, Bobby's got a base of customers. We started working now. Then all their staff in those organizations, we brought them across into the bank. Then a couple of other things that started happening is that we realized Cecil was there, Hollard was there, Sanlam was there. So we started frequenting them, started getting little businesses from them. So it's your home base that supported you to start your business. Then let alone when I flew into Africa, going to Tanzania, Malawi, wherever I went, there was an Indian company banking with FNB in Tanzania or Zambia or wherever. And then I went to go visit the head offices in India. And automatically, we started getting some businesses from them. Now you start seeing the link. So now your corridor started playing out very well for you as an organization.